Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Well, hello, and welcome back to Overcoming Family. I am Lindsay Glass.
And I am Leslie Glass.
And we are authors, and we have the website Reach Out Recovery. And today on Overcoming Family, we have a great topic. Overcoming Family dives into real talk on healing family wounds, mothers, fathers, siblings, children, in-laws. We give honest insights, expert tools, and hope to transform your toughest and often most important relationships. So today, we might argue a little bit. So
I think we're going to do some real
Let's argue, because we actually had some conflicting opinions about some of this. So today's topic is what healthy families do differently that most people don't really talk about. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about what unhealthy families do and all the bad behaviors. But let's actually talk a little bit about what healthy families do differently.
Okay, that's great. All right, so what is a healthy family? This episode reframes the idea of what a healthy family is. And let's just face it, no family is perfection, constant closeness or absence of conflict, because we all have conflicts. A healthy family means there is emotional safety in the home, flexibility and respect for individuality, as well as compassion for our differences. So, you know, most people don't grow up seeing this kind of kindness modeled, so they assume that something is wrong with them, like not realizing that they were never taught what a healthy family actually looks like and acts like.
So, and that's actually what we were arguing about before the episode. So what my mom asked me was, she, in all seriousness, said, do you think, what did you ask me?
Well, we'll get to that. It's a question of unconditional love.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to get to unconditional love and what that actually means. But, you know, many people assume that if you're a healthy family, you're not going to argue, you're not going to hurt each other, and you're always supportive. But that's not reality. I mean, we just can't always be supportive.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true. So that's kind of the core principle, that emotional safety is absolutely the foundation. So yeah, let's explain a little bit, and then we'll talk about our disagreement.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how we got into it. So if the core principle is emotional safety, then it has to be that in healthy families, love doesn't feel conditional. Okay? So you don't feel like your belonging is constantly at risk. And some of the core components of that is you can have your own thoughts and feelings. Your inner world belongs to you. You don't have to edit your emotions to keep the peace or pretend to agree just to feel accepted. Disagreement doesn't mean disloyalty.
But in so many families, disagreement does mean disloyalty.
Okay.
So let's just say if you don't have the same religious beliefs as your parents, that might feel like disloyalty. And in some families, not even rooting for the same team in sports can feel like disloyalty.
So it's very true. So what she was saying to me was, she was asking me if I believe relationships, there are dynamics that where it isn't conditional. And my answer is yes. I have seen some parents with children that I believe have very, very healthy dynamics. I've seen some relationships where I believe both parties are as honest as You can be in a romantic relationship. They're supportive. They're loving. Now, is this the norm? No. But do I believe it exists? Yes. Why are you more pessimistic? You have a little bit more time than me. Have you seen things I don't know?
I just think, one of the things that we talk about is you're not going to be punished for being honest, and you don't have to carefully calculate the cost of telling the truth. But because
and you think some people just can't do that?
No. I think you're, while we feel that emotional safety means you can say I hurt or I disagree without bracing for withdrawal, guilt tripping, or days of silence. But on the other end of the spectrum, you can't always be honest. You can't always be honest and tell people the truth, because that can really be very disruptive. And for example, if you're in a family where there is addiction or mental health issues,
I think it's even simpler than that. And we never want to shine a spotlight or embarrass anybody, but we know a few people who are really difficult.
I think we all know people who are really
difficult. The person who has to pick the restaurant for dinner, who has to drive the car,
who always finds fault with everything you do.
Yeah, and these people, I think, a little bit more are the walking on eggshells people, right? These are the super controlling type.
Yeah.
When we've both done it in our family, in our old family of origin, and in romantic relationships, we've both done it.
Walking on eggshells, that means that you literally are terrified of what's going to happen next.
You're just managing someone else's mood. That's what you're doing.
Right.
You're shrinking yourself to avoid a reaction. And when that's your normal, you really stop knowing who you actually are because all your energy is spent on keeping somebody else calm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, we'll talk a little bit about at the end about what you do about these things. But basically, if you experience some of this, that's really, really difficult. That is not healthy.
Right. So,
and here's the thing. I guess what you were trying to say earlier is just because it's not necessarily the healthiest, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you're wrong.
Well,
if you disagree with someone like that.
Oh, right.
Like, we're not trying to talk badly about anybody's situation. We all have different people in our lives with different levels of mood. But, what we're really trying to come back to here is the point of relationships and families that deal with things really well. There's emotional safety.
Yeah, and we need to say that over and over.
Yeah.
Are you a safe person with the people who love you? And are the people you love, are they safe?
Yeah.
Do they allow you to be yourself? So
another feature that goes right after this is, and this really is the follow-up, healthy families allow individuality. They don't require everyone to think, feel, or behave the same way. They really understand that disagreement is not betrayal. And I want to unpack this one for a little bit at this moment because we are having such discord around everything from affordability to child care. People have a lot of fears right now. I had an argument with somebody recently about health care.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who just didn't understand, what some of the issues are for somebody like me who is self-insured and who is using insurance that regularly denies my claims and what it's like to experience that and the rage that goes on with it. So, and that was somebody who cares for me deeply and still totally didn't understand. So, what do we do with those people right now who get angry at us for having different thoughts? Do we detach from them?
Well, no, of course not. But we learn about the things that we can't share with those people. So basically,
know your audience kind of thing.
Yeah, know your audience.
So we have some people in our lives that are kind of on different political spectrums. We don't really talk politics with them.
You can't. You have to make some boundaries.
Yeah, because we don't.
And don't tease each other about it. Because one person in my life who I love very much and I want to love with all my heart teases me.
Right.
about my political beliefs.
Right.
And it's painful.
Right. So we need to really understand in those moments that maybe even though we think we're just like pushing our view forward or whatever, that somebody else may be taking it as really like painful.
Right.
You know, not understanding what somebody is going through. And we actually don't, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on in our family, but this whole sexuality thing isn't something that we've dealt with.
No.
I have no idea what the parents of trans kids are going through right now. I can't even imagine.
Right.
So we have to be kind for what people are experiencing right now.
Well, let's talk about independence for a second, because in every family, in every relationship, you need to have some level of independence to be yourself. What is yourself?
So let's come from the mom's perspective, because this is something you're good at now, but when we were younger,
you know, about wow, you think that I wasn't good at allowing you your independence to be yourself?
No.
Please clarify.
The desire to have Alex and I do well. Follow in your footsteps.
Okay.
Go to good schools.
Okay.
Go to good colleges. Be an editor at Random House.
Yes,
And there was nothing wrong with wanting those things for me.
No. That's really good, but I don't think that that's about independence or dependence. I think that's a question of a mom wanting children to do well, and that can be extremely misguided, because one of the things that we really need to do is let go and let our children make their own decisions about what's appropriate and what's right for them. But sometimes they don't know.
And I think that's totally fair. But I think it's an interesting thing that you say, oh, that has nothing to do with that.
and then I absolutely contradicted
myself.
Well,
no. I think it's interesting because these are the complications of family dynamics. Mom thinks, I know what's going to get this child on track. And by the way, I couldn't be more grateful for my education. It's gotten me where I've gone in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it can be very layered. So at the time I thought, well, if I don't do what they want and I fall off track, I'm not, but so it probably seemed from me as I can't go do and be who I want to be. But that's not how you meant it.
Well, I think we have to go back another generation, because I disappointed my mother at every step. I just wasn't what she wanted me to be. She wanted me to be preppy. She wanted me to go to a fancy girls' college, and I wanted to play guitar and sit on the grass.
So did you feel rejected? Did she feel rejected by you?
I don't know, but now that I'm really, really old and I think about it, I think, oh, my God, Mom, I'm so sorry we didn't talk some of this out.
Right.
Because I did disappoint her, and I wasn't what she wanted me to be, and we didn't know how to talk about that. So, growing, a child growing, whether it's me growing from my mom or you growing from your mom, it's not abandonment.
No.
It's really great. It's good for all.
It's good. May all ships rise.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a writer, an author, and my mother wanted me to do something else.
But I want to add something. I think that there is kind of a natural reaction when somebody around us wants to change.
Oh, yeah.
Or work on themselves. I think I've experienced it myself. I do think there can be resistance. And this is another key element. People can be a little bit resistant. Like, sometimes you tell somebody you want to go on a self-improvement retreat, and they have thoughts about that. Or you want to stop drinking, and they say, why? You don't need to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Or you tell somebody, I want to go to therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, what for? That won't help you. So I think what we have to do is make a distinction that it's okay if somebody is has a weird reaction to your growth. Mm-hmm. But flexible people, healthy people end up saying, okay, if this is what you want.
Yeah, you want to be a writer, and you say, oh, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
You're having therapy does not, like, unless I'm doing something to you that I don't want a therapist to know about, there should be no reason that I would not want you to see a therapist.
I think the therapy question is very, very touchy because often the people around you are afraid that things will be uncovered that they don't want uncovered, what the relationship is or the unhealthy aspects of the relationship.
So that, you just said the exact takeaway for this piece, which is that unhealthy systems interpret change as a threat.
Yep, there you go.
Healthy systems interpret change as development.
Yeah.
Or at least they can come to that.
Yeah.
Okay, the final piece of this segment is that healthy families repair after conflict.
Oh, wow, Lindsay. This is something that we're really good at now and didn't used to be. So we can have a fight, and sometimes we do have little flare-ups, and being able to come back and take responsibility and say, oh, I shouldn't have said that or whatever.
Right. Have accountability.
Yeah.
Okay to have vulnerability. Accountability isn't weakness. It's actually the bravest thing you can do in a relationship. Saying I was wrong or I hurt you or I own that requires you to set your ego aside and prioritize the relationship over being right. And I just want to say something quickly.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we're perfect.
Oh, you and I?
I'm speaking for myself. I'm not perfect. God knows. I do things and say things, and sometimes I have to turn around and say, oh, my God, you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
And, but I think that we feel safe doing that with each other now.
I don't think that either of us have that trait of having to be right.
Not anymore.
See, that was something that we gave up to be healthy. And the thing is that we don't, I can say I was wrong, you can say you were wrong, but even when we're having a fight, we don't have to prove that we're the one who's right. We can walk away and take a pause.
Okay, so this leads into the next one, apologize without defensiveness. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but I just want to say I think it even... I think it even goes beyond that. So what we're talking about here is a real apology doesn't come with a but. You can't...
Give an example of a but. I love the but because I used to do that all the time.
I'm sorry that I blew up at you, but you really pissed me off.
You really pissed me off.
Yeah. So when someone can say sorry without immediately explaining why they did it, or turning it back on you, that is emotional maturity in action. But I want to add something. One of the things I'm working on, and, I am in Al-Anon, and I am...
Do you want to explain what Al-Anon is?
Al-Anon, which we're not supposed to talk about at press, radio, or film, but that's okay.
Oh, here we are.
It's the 12-step program for families of alcoholics. And I know a lot of alcoholics. I go to Al-Anon just because it helps me focus on myself and not point the finger at other people. One of the things I am actively trying to practice is not just doing the but when I'm apologizing, but when you give me notes.
Oh.
Would you like to?
Well, explain what that means.
So we write books.
Yeah.
We're doing a new edition of a book right now that I wrote. And we have these hilarious conversations where I say, don't rewrite it because I want my voice in it. And I say, just look at the, workbook stuff. She goes, okay. And then she rewrites it. And then I rewrite it. And then she rewrites it. And then I rewrite it. And then we get into conversations about what should be rewritten. And what I'm trying to say is that, I have to I know she's going to do this. And as she gives me the note, I just have to say thank you. And that makes a lot of sense. And if I use it, I use it. And if I don't, I don't. But getting into that debate on every thought, and it's a habit. Am I going to listen to this person's notes, or am I going to start debating them on what they think? So, first of all, we're going to finish the segment, but don't leave us because the next segment we are going to talk about, control, guilt, fear, and obligation as being tactics that family members can use. I also want to remind everybody that we now have professional discounts for our books. we have a line of incredible self-help books, an incredible series for mothers and daughter healing. Our first book was an Oprah's book club pick. The workbook is the follow-up. These are being used in therapy, therapeutic book clubs. We are presenting this program at a Mother's Day retreat with Dr. Coleman, the world-famous family therapist. So please check out our website, reachoutrecovery.com. Check out our books, and if you are a mental health professional, we do have all of our books on discounted rates for books. So check that out. So to finish off the segment, one of the other things that healthy families do is they allow the conversations to resolve tension, not create more. So have you ever had that experience? You're trying to make up with somebody, and it just is getting worse and worse and worse, and you're getting farther from where you want to be?
Yes, because what happens is you're building up your defenses, and you're getting that flight or fight, and the fight raises up higher and higher and higher, and whatever the other person is saying to you, you can't calm down.
Yeah, it's kind of the shifting sands. You're not getting anywhere.
Right.
So in healthy families, hard conversations do have a destination, and that destination is understanding and reconnection. Not slamming the doors and saying, I'm never going to speak to you.
And how do we do that, Lindsay? It's like you may be right.
Yeah. And
and that will stop the other person cold.
Well, we'll talk about some more solutions later, but basically, we just want you to know that most people didn't grow up learning these skills, but they can be learned at any age. Healthy family dynamics aren't inherited. They're built through awareness and intention. So this is our goal, to build trust, resilience, and emotional security with the people closest to us. So don't go away. Stay with us. We will be back for our next segment, why healthy families don't control through guilt, fear, or obligation.
Stop enabling being codependent and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now. Stop enabling being codependent and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
There's a place called ReachOutRecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to ReachOutRecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store at ReachOutRecovery.com. Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at ReachOutRecovery.com.
The bright side of talk. HealthyLife.net.
Hi there. Welcome back to Overcoming Family. You've got Lindsay and Leslie Glass here just talking about healthy families.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is that healthy families don't control through guilt, fear, or obligation.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, let's talk about this for a minute because, many families make you feel selfish for having needs or make you feel that you're less than, you're no good. I'm going to give an example from my own childhood. My parents thought that because I had a good home and I had lots to eat and I had pretty much everything that I needed, that I didn't need to be reassured. I didn't need reassurance. And I think children need to be reassured that they're okay and that they're safe. And we talked about this in the earlier segment about being able to say, I feel hurt or I'm afraid or whatever kinds of feelings you have. But if you are told that you because you have everything, that you're privileged and that you don't have emotions that need to be taken care of. So,
well, let me back up because I'll say something. Many families use guilt as a form of emotional control without realizing it. Because I'll tell you the other side of that. Imagine a family living in poverty, and the kids complaining, and mom and dad are like, we're living in our car. Like, what you're worried about your sneakers. You're worried about feeding you.
Yeah.
So, and that's a kind of, abuse and trauma too. Maybe the parents don't mean it. They are in dire straits, but a kid not having what they need in different areas can be really traumatic.
That's very traumatic.
So this is really important because we all have needs, emotional, physical, relational, and we're wired to turn to our family.
That's right.
To help us meet them. So whether you're a child or an adult in a family and you're expressing a need and it's met even with eye rolls or worse, ridicule or guilt, it doesn't mean the need goes away.
No.
The need is still there. What you do is you just stop asking, and over time, the person or the child goes deeper and deeper inside.
But they also feel that their needs are a burden to the family. Wanting something is shameful. And I know about this because, the safest thing to do is to disappear emotionally and just pretend you're all right all the time. How are you? I'm fine.
Well, and then, I'll take it further. The real danger at the end of that rainbow is substance abuse.
Can be.
Depression.
Yes.
Mental illness.
If you're not recognized.
Yeah, if you have all these feelings that you're shoving down inside, there may come a time where you want to make yourself feel better in one way or another.
Right.
And maybe it isn't substance abuse. Maybe you're looking for love in all the wrong places.
That's true.
Maybe you're a shopping addict. Maybe you're using food either too much or too little to control how you feel. But when you can't control your emotions, you often try to control something else.
Well, and you thinking of control, think about the ways that people can control you using withdrawing from you or being silent or showing their disappointment in you.
This is one I've experienced.
The silent treatment?
Well, when somebody kind of backs away, the withdrawal and the silence is punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so painful. And the funny thing about it is I think the kind of people that do that, they're not, really capable of kind of real attachment.
Right.
So you're over here thinking, wow, I am worthless to this person because they're behaving this way, and I feel so disconnected.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with me? And they're over there going, ha, 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 ha. She's getting hers because I'm giving her the silent treatment.
Well, it's behave the way I want you to behave, or I will punish you, or I will, lose you.
Yeah.
And that kind of emotional withdrawal, it teaches people to prioritize somebody else's approval over your own self.
I mean, again and again, all of this stuff leads to self-confidence problems, self-esteem issues, So when we talk about this stuff, it's not just because we want to point out what healthy families or unhealthy families look like. It's also, well, if you're somebody like us or somebody else that comes out of one of these dynamics that's unhealthy, you may be wandering around wondering, like, why, as you say, does my self-esteem have, is it like Swiss cheese? It has holes in it.
Yeah.
Why don't I always feel good? And why some mornings do I have to push through something? And it's like, well,
where do I come from?
Yeah, there's an anxiety-based thing now. So, healthy families operate differently in a couple of different ways. For one, they allow choice.
Oh, yes, I'm going to be an author, Mom.
Right. Or I'm going to move to California, or I'm not going to be on a sports team because you were.
Yeah.
And I think it even allows choice that makes you uncomfortable.
Well, yes, and getting back to this question of identity, sexual identity.
Right.
And other kinds of behaviors.
You know what was tough? You could be quite fearful.
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As a parent.
Absolutely. Terrified.
I'm afraid this is going to happen. I'm afraid that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And that's an interesting thing, too.
But my mother was phobic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's generational. My mother was phobic. My mother didn't want me to do all these things because she thought I'd fail, because she thought I'd break my neck, afraid of heights, afraid of death, afraid of water.
So once again, when we talk about the complications,
afraid of flying,
the layered dynamics, sometimes people don't want to allow you to have choice because it scares them.
Yeah.
So again, we're not saying that everybody's bad here, that's rigid. It's how you were raised, what you believe in, but allowing the people around you to have the freedom to make their own choices is really important.
But also to experiment.
Yeah.
To experiment.
As long as it's safe.
And sometimes experiment even when it's not safe because it's not your choice.
I guess
if you're the mom, it's not your choice.
If you'd asked her the same question 20 years ago, there would have been a different answer, but we can leave it at that. The next one is they don't require emotional self-abandonment to maintain connection. I'm having trouble getting the words out.
What does that even mean, though?
It means that you have to abandon your own emotional needs to maintain a connection with them.
Okay.
So in that relationship I had that wasn't well connected, basically I stopped having needs.
Okay.
He said I was needy, so I stopped having needs.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately I was healthy enough that after a few months of that, I realized how unhappy I was and that I had needs that were healthy and they needed to be met.
Let's talk about boundaries because, I think healthy relationships have boundaries.
Even when they don't understand them.
And talk about boundaries. Boundaries means don't tease me.
Well, we're running out of time, so we'll get into boundaries in the next segment.
Okay.
But, basically those three things, the choice, the not abandoning the emotional stuff, respecting boundaries, these are what creates a relationship that's based on respect, not emotional pressure.
Exactly.
So ask yourself, do I feel free to be myself around my family?
Or do I feel pressure to manage their emotions?
Yeah, that's the big question. So don't leave us. Come back. We have 2 more great segments, and we're going to have some tips and tools at the end. So see you in a few minutes.
There's a place called reachoutrecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to reachoutrecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store at reachoutrecovery.com.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at reachoutrecovery.com.
You have too little time to shop, so try Farm Fresh to You. They deliver organic food the way nature intended, delivered straight to your home or office, economically. Visit our web advertiser page and click on Farm Fresh to You now.
Coming from experience, Lindsay and Leslie Glass navigated the rocky waters and found 4 powerful steps that brought back the love after things got broken, providing healing, understanding, and a way to rewrite their story. Now you can rewrite your own story using their acclaimed book, The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover. It addresses triggers, traumas, forgiveness, and more. Get your copy of The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover at reachoutrecovery.com or wherever fine books are sold. That's reachoutrecovery.com. Stop enabling, being codependent, and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Uplifting talk. HealthyLife.net.
Hi, welcome back to Overcoming Family. Today we're talking about what healthy families do. And before we jump into the next segment, because Leslie brought up boundaries, we're going to talk about them for a quick minute here.
Healthy families respect boundaries. So let's talk about the areas of boundaries that are really important. First of all, we've got physical. That means that
You have the right to your own space.
Yeah.
If somebody makes you uncomfortable by getting too close to you, you can ask people you don't want to touch you, not to touch you.
Exactly.
But physical boundaries is a basic. The next one, financial.
And that means that you have the right to use your money your own way.
Yep.
Nobody else has the right to take your money or use your money or complain about the way you use your money or what you're doing. Financial boundary is what's mine is mine.
Yes. And you have the right to give people money if they ask for it or not. And you really have the right to say no.
And people, your people have to respect that. Healthy people do respect that.
Emotional is next.
Emotional. Now, this goes back to what we were talking about before, which is religion, politics. You don't have to agree with everybody,
but you have to be kind.
You have to be kind.
You have to be respectful.
You have to be respectful.
If there's topics you don't want to talk about,
you can just say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't need to talk about that.
Sometimes I say to you and somebody else in my life, you're making my heart pound right now. Stop talking about it.
The other thing is, you don't have to listen endlessly to other people's emotional on the phone or.
So I put that under time boundaries.
Oh, okay.
You can set time. Well, emotional and time.
Emotional means maybe time and space too.
Yeah. So time is that somebody can't take up all your time.
Right. And ask you to do things that are not convenient for you to do or things that you don't want to do. That's time. But yeah.
And if you have to see somebody, you can limit it. I'm going to see this person for 30 minutes or talk to them for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go.
And your space also, your home, people don't drop in and anytime they want and take your food, take your stuff. Okay.
So boundaries are a very, very important piece of all of this.
Yes, and healthy families do respect those boundaries. Okay. So I think that this is really exciting because now we're going to talk about permanent roles. And, every family does assign roles for every family member. Often the mom is the responsible one or is expected to be the responsible one, right? Then we've got the problem child. We've got the helpful child. We have the oversensitive aunt. We have the recovering addict who may not be recovering. We assign these roles to our family members, and it may come down from generations. The truth teller may be the one that is considered the difficult one.
But the problem is that roles actually limit growth, and they seriously prevent people from evolving. And so we'll speak to specific examples. If you were the person in the family who struggled with a mental health issue or an addiction issue, but you've gone into recovery and years have passed,
but people still have the memory of the way you behave,
or still bring it up or throw it in your face when you have done everything in your power to show that you've changed.
You're responsible.
This is a punishing continuation of a role that is no longer appropriate.
Right. And if you're the family clown and no one takes you seriously, and all of a sudden you have all of the degrees and you have a great job and people still don't take you seriously.
Well, I think what's really funny, and there are a lot of memes about this, people who joke like, I make 6 figures on the internet and my parents still tell me to get a job.
Yeah, right.
So even though somebody is doing something that their parents don't agree with or understand, they're doing really well, and the parents still tell them to get a job. Like, when are you going to get a real job with health insurance?
I have a family member. I have a family member whose siblings all got married and had children, and this sibling didn't get married, got a doctor's degree, is an important doctor, and the family does not respect the job, but only remembers that person didn't get married and have children.
Right. So not only are these rules, prevent people from evolving, but they're really insulting, actually.
Yes.
So what healthy families do is they allow identity to evolve. So they allow people to grow beyond old versions of themselves. And I would go beyond that. They celebrate the new version.
Right. But some of us hang on to some of those old traits that are still annoying.
Absolutely.
I can think of family members who are incredibly successful and doing well and still are very annoying.
Absolutely. Do you tell them they're annoying?
Not if they're blood relations. But yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want to trap people in outdated narratives. Being punished over and over for the past is really unfair, and it's kind of cruel, and it certainly isn't supportive to somebody who's working very, very hard to create a newer, healthier life.
Yeah, it's so important for people to see you who you are now, not who you were. Be able to look at you and be able to have new assessments.
So the key insight here is that healthy families don't need you to stay the same in order to feel stable. They adjust as you grow. So we have a couple minutes here, and I really want to talk about a few things. So first of all, we are presenting at the Mending Spaces retreat over Mother's Day weekend. I believe there is still a spot available. This is with the truly renowned therapist and Dr. Joshua Coleman. This is for mothers who are estranged from a child, and it's really going to be an extraordinary weekend. We are guest speakers. Everybody will be getting copies of both of our books, so that's really fun and exciting for us. We would really like you to follow us on our social media. Go to our website, reachoutrecovery.com. Look at our various offerings because we have so many. So if you need a website for articles, we have 2,000 original articles on behavioral health. All of our radio shows and podcast appearances are on our YouTube site. We have huge social media followings on Facebook and Instagram. We post daily. Self-help, infographics, quotes, information about us and what we're doing. So we really would love it if you follow us. Now, you have not been calling us. We're not saying our feelings are hurt because we're flexible. But we would love it if you did call us. So we do have a guest call-in number. That is 310-371-5459. So if you're sitting out there and you're bored,
or you have a question,
or you have a question that has nothing to do with today's episode, to hear from you at 310-371-5459. But more than anything else, we really, really want you to stick with us because the final segment is really what we do best, and that is some solutions. Reach Out Recovery is a solution-based company. That's what we care about. It's okay to have problems, not okay to not fix them. So we really want you to come back for the final segment because we're going to talk about how you can create health even if you didn't grow up with it. We're going to talk about some books and stuff that inspires us and give you some ideas about how to move forward with all of these new ideas. So come back. We'll be back in a couple minutes for our final segment.
Stop enabling, being codependent, and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now. Stop enabling, being codependent, and being in a dysfunctional family dynamic. If this sounds like something you need, then ReachOutRecovery.com can help. A pioneer in providing wellness information and resources which address not only addiction and recovery, but mental health and relationships. ReachOutRecovery.com is your first stop for help, with over 2,000 easy-to-understand mental health and relationship articles, and award-winning self-help books, courses, and so much more. So don't wait. Visit ReachOutRecovery.com and get the help you need now.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
There's a place called ReachOutRecovery.com, and here there is a wonderful store which has a plethora of transformative books, posters, and downloads for recovery and personal growth. There's fun things with purpose, too, like a gorgeous best-selling coloring book with journal prompts for step work healing, teen guide to health, and workbooks recommended by Oprah's Book Club. Come to ReachOutRecovery.com and visit their store. There's bound to be something you, a family member, or a friend can use. Go there now, the store, at ReachOutRecovery.com. Leslie and Lindsay Glass offer a curriculum of transformational tools with 3 other books. It's a way to learn information with fun activities, discussions, journaling, and more. Whether you are an individual or a group, these curriculums have been taught successfully in recovery and reentry programs all over the country. The Teen Guide to Health and 100 Tips for Growing Up is perfect for any group working with teens. Leslie and Lindsay can even customize curriculums and teacher trainers. To get more info, use the Contact Us tab at ReachOutRecovery.com.
The bright side of talk. HealthyLife.net.
And we're back for our final segment this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate that you're here and you're listening. We really do hope that we give you some stories that make you feel better, give you some ideas that bring up thoughts for change, and offer solutions, which we're about to do. But it occurred to us during the break, if you want to email us directly, you can.
Yeah.
You can reach us at info@reachoutrecovery.com. Again, that is info@reachoutrecovery.com. If you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you want to know about our books, or you want us to speak at your book club, please email us. We'd love to hear from you. So do you want to open this one up?
Well, okay, what we're going to start and talk about right now is what creating health looks like. What does it actually mean? And I think we were talking about emotional boundaries before, and I think the first thing is respecting your own emotional boundaries. And that means if you want to really be healthy, you start with something that is simple but quite radical, and that is if you want somebody else to respect your boundaries, you have to let them know what they are, and you have to be able to stick with it, even if other people think you're wrong. And I'll give an example of this. An example would be, and I'm a mom. Let's just say one of my children is coming to my house all the time, taking my food, wearing my clothes, taking stuff from me, and I say I want you to stop doing that, or that I have to be able to be firm and be very clear that that's what I want. And there is going to be pushback. There is going to be pushback when you make changes like that. But the most important thing is for you to be able to be yourself and to be able to feel safe.
You know, you brought something up earlier that I just want to pick up. Sometimes people don't know their own emotional boundaries.
Yes, that's correct.
So the other piece of this
But you may be quiet about it.
Well, we talk about believing that your feelings are valid.
Yes.
So I think it's important, this is where writing comes in.
Oh.
Journaling, talking to somebody trusted. Mm-hmm. When I was in that relationship with somebody who could be very mean, I was sponsored in Al-Anon. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons it only took me a few months to get out of that relationship once I knew it really wasn't right for me is because I was telling somebody what was going on. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, well, are you explaining? Here are my needs. They're valid, da-da-da-da-da. And I'd say, yes, and this is his, response. And she'd go, okay, you're not, actually somebody is not responding in a healthy way to you.
So sometimes, when something doesn't feel right, you can write it down. Or you can tell somebody,
So identify those feelings.
You have to be able to trust that when you have a signal, and talking to yourself, you don't talk yourself out of it.
Yes.
You don't talk yourself out of it. And many, many, many parents are really struggling with children, grown children who want stuff from them.
Oh, my God. I am a woman in my 40s. Most of my friends are struggling with teenagers or younger children who want things from them that they can't say no.
Yeah,
they can't say no to these kids.
Yeah.
So
boundaries is creating health looks like, number one, being aware of emotional boundaries and being able to express your boundaries and being able to stand up with them. And that takes awareness, and it may take help.
Yeah. Number two is choosing relationships that feel safe. So as adults, we get to do something children can't. We choose who we let close. So choosing a safe relationship means you have to pay attention to how you feel when you're with somebody. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel heavier?
Do you feel safe?
Do you feel seen, or do you feel managed? Because here's the thing, safe relationships aren't perfect, but they are consistently kind, honest, and mutually respectful. Next.
Honesty. Honesty. And that is being able to say what you feel and what you think instead of performing for approval. So, sometimes I have to say things even to you, Lindsay, that you may not want to hear. So some of us have learned very early that the only way to say love is to be agreeable all the time, to be low maintenance, and endlessly accommodating. But it's just exhausting.
It is.
It's just exhausting trying to be perfect for somebody else. So, but speaking honestly is more than just getting approval. It's about saying what you need even when your voice shakes. It's like saying, I know this is tough, and I have to be very brave to say this, but this is how I feel about
And
X.
you may not like the response.
You
but
may
you're,
not.
You're prepared.
You may not.
So the next one is you're not abandoning yourself to maintain connection. And this is the most important shift of all. So, for years we lose ourselves in these situations. But, connection that requires your silence isn't really connection. We all deserve relationships where showing up fully as yourself is welcome.
But so many of us are in relationships, long-term relationships, where we have become so accommodating that we just simply don't know what we want or who we are anymore.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In the last, and we are running out of time, but breaking generational patterns, okay?
Yep.
When you stop participating in unhealthy dynamics, the system shifts, okay? So even if others don't change, you will experience freedom.
Eventually.
Yes, and often others begin adjusting in response. But here's the thing, we don't just know what to do. This is where self-help is important.
Yes.
This is where reading books, Codependent No More by Melody Beattie, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay Gibson, Family Therapy, Concepts and Methods, Michael Nichols. I read some of these books when I started my Al-Anon journey, and it really helped me understand.
Codependent No More is very important.
Also, books like The Body Keeps the Score.
That's a very important book.
Or It Didn't Start With You by Mark Woolen. So we want you to know that, you can't just have the thought, I'd like to change this, and it changes.
Right.
Change comes from making little, small, tiny steps in the right direction, and we learn those steps from support groups, from mental health professionals, from books, and, podcasts, TED Talks. But, make sure who you're listening to. I mean, we're authors. We are family relationship experts, but we're authors. If you really need the words to talk to difficult family members, talk to a professional, read these books, use the exact lines, when I feel, and that's how you start to create real change. So what we want you to know is that healthy families are not defined by perfection at all. Life will happen. They will fight, but they will reconnect. They will be flexible. They will respect each other.
They will have compassion.
And even when one is in crisis,
yeah,
and doing something that is disappointing the rest of the family, they'll be able to be there for them.
Right. So the most powerful truth is this. You don't have to come from a healthy family to create a healthy family, and we are perfect examples of that, Lindsay and I. You can become the person who changes a pattern for yourself and for everyone who comes after you.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So if you are out there struggling with a family member, just know
you're not alone.
You're not alone. Things can change, and there's so many things you can do for yourself to be better every single day. So come back to us next month, and we will talk more about family stuff. Go to Reach Out Recovery, sign up for our newsletter, stay in touch with us, and we hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.